can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
ESBR Boxing, we are back, myself and Paul Kelly. That means one thing and one thing only. That means we're here in preview mode, and we've got a delicious heavyweight fight that we are previewing. Before I get to that, I'd like to say like and subscribe to the channel. We've got all your boxing needs up and under one roof. As I say, previews, reviews, big fight breakdowns, fight footage, walkouts, all that sort of good stuff. So check out the channel for that, and please do like and subscribe. Paul, thank you very much for joining me as always. One of your favourites on the channel we've got going on today, heavyweight action. Dave Allen versus, I'm not going to say his forename, but Makhmudov. Makhmudov Allen is what we're here to preview. Which obviously, I think we've seen a bit of a resurgence in Dave Allen. It seems like we've talked about Dave Allen sort of 3 or 4, 5 times even now on like the comeback trail. But obviously that victory over Johnny Fisher, well, 2 victories you could argue as well, has kind of propelled his career, have gone, hasn't it, into more limelight. And we're on the train again, possibly for the 6th time here. But I'd like to get your thoughts, Paul, your predictions first and foremost on Allen versus Makhmudov, and then we'll unpick, where both men goes after this. But yeah, your thoughts and predictions, Paul, please.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Obviously, as you said, love every time Dave Allen fights. I'm a massive fan, always have been, always will be. And this is a big fight for him. I think it's a big ask, to be honest. I mean, I don't think Makhmudov's like world champion material in the future or anything like that. I think he's very basic himself. Um, but at the same time, like he is an absolute mule of a puncher. Um, and I think he's going to be very, very dangerous. At one point, there, before the Cabial loss, a lot of people thought Makhmudov was going to be like this destructive powerhouse who would run through the division and beat AJ and beat Fury and beat Usyk and become the king. But like, it seems that he's so basic and that he's quite slow. You can see his punches coming from a mile off. Albeit it's still difficult to get out of the way of them when you don't want to take it on the chin because he's going to knock you out. But I think that Cabial one showed that like he nailed him to the body, really broke him down, and Makhmudov didn't like it. It only went 4 rounds. Then his other defeat was also via stoppage to Vianello, who's a limited heavyweight in his own right, I think, to be honest. He lost that in 8 rounds. So I don't think this is an impossible task for Dave Allen. I think it's a big ask, but I don't think it's impossible. You look at the way that second Fisher fight, it was just an incredible the way he set that up and got that stoppage. It was a matter of time, and like he knew we kind of knew it was coming. Remember that interview after the first fight? He was like, "I wouldn't, if I was Fisher, I wouldn't take the rematch with me because like it's only going to go one way." And it worked out that way. And do you know what? I mean, how many times have we said, "Oh, it looks like Dave Allen's in shape," and actually, it does look like he's in really good nick for this fight. So it looks like he's trained hard, which I'm sure he has with Jamie Moore, Nigel Travis, and the gang down in that gym. So yeah, you know what I'm doing, mate. You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
He might be a bit of an underdog or whatever, in terms of the bookies, but as I've said, I don't think Makhmudov's all that. I think he'll be incredibly dangerous early on, and don't get me wrong, he could get Allen out of there. But when have we actually seen Dave Allen starched? Never. His defeats and his stoppage defeats have been like he's admitted he quit on the stool kind of thing against Fraser Clark. His other ones have been like an accumulation of punches where the referee's just gone like, "Nah, mate, you've had enough." He's never actually been like concussively knocked out. He's got a granite chin, albeit you don't want to take too many from Makhmudov. But I think if he can survive an early storm, Dave Allen, 4 or 5 rounds, I think he can take Makhmudov out. I'm going to go Dave Allen to stop Makhmudov in the second half
Oh,
of the fight.
baby. That is super. I mean, to be honest, you and I haven't spoken about this fight before recording it, so I actually wasn't sure which way you were going to go with that. And only halfway through that, I thought, "Fucking hell, he's going to do it, isn't he? He's going to go, Dave." And I think, I actually agree with a lot of the points you made there, to be honest, if not all of them. I think Makhmudov is a very limited fighter. He's very robotic. Does obviously punch very hard. For me, I feel like Dave Allen's a better boxer. Again, you were saying again about, what sort of Dave Allen turns up. Hopefully that Allen is kind of motivated and in shape will turn up. I just got this kind of sense that for me, I just feel like Makhmudov's too big for Dave Allen. That's the kind of the worry that I have. Like I think he just kind of I think Dave Allen will catch him multiple times, but I don't know whether Dave Allen will be able to stop him. And if not, I think he'll get caught himself and probably hurt at some point. So I'm actually going to go the other way. I'm actually going to go Makhmudov for this one. But I really want Dave Allen to win this fight. I just almost feel like, and Makhmudov's not as good a boxer in my mind either as someone like David Price, who obviously kind of battered Dave Allen in that fight that they had together. But I almost feel like the similar sort of thing would happen in the sense that he's just kind of too big for Dave Allen. I'm a bit sad in a way that this fight has been made because I almost feel like Dave Allen could have taken maybe a bit of an easier opponent. and like kept the momentum going. I think it's almost like a real leap to like go from here to here. Like we could have maybe had one and then gone to here, this sort of thing. But if you know if he wins it, then obviously this propels him into other fights, which I'll probably predict him to lose. But it predicts him to kind of like massive, bigger fights again, doesn't it? And you kind of think like, Christ, like, is that where Dave Allen should be, or should Dave Allen be kind of like the guard keeper of kind of like world to British level? Should he be just taking people through that level rather than kind of us pushing him on? But to be honest with you, I would love to see Dave Allen win this, but I'm unfortunately going to have to go to Makhmudov stoppage just purely on size, and I think he'll catch him at some point. But that aside. I suppose this is talking about I suppose some other kind of fights. We're talking maybe around that level. Obviously, we've seen Dave Allen. Obviously, he's fought Fraser Clark before, hasn't he? Retired. Obviously, done perforated edge over that fight, but that was almost kind of maybe a bit soon. Like people weren't always talking really about Dave Allen, were they, at that point? And all of a sudden, it's like Clark's fighting Dave Allen again. Like, what the hell's happening? Then he's had that kind of like run. He's got a bit of momentum again and beating Fisher. So I was going to say to you, Fraser Clark, to Jamie TKV. That's the fight that's obviously happening. Were that fight to happen, were Allen to come out, regardless of the result against Makhmudov, were he to come out kind of, unscathed and in good health, the winner of that fight, Clark versus TKV, who would you have, if the winner of that fight versus Dave Allen, which side would you go with there, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, when you think of the first Fraser Clark fight, like Clark won basically every round, didn't he? And then till Allen didn't really want to know, but he said he didn't really want to know, and that's probably a Dave Allen before he started taking it really seriously and half-arsed. He wasn't in shape or anything as well, which is a shame. I think he could beat Jimmy TKV. I do. I think he's better than a lot of people think. Jimmy TKV. I think he could beat him, but although this run he's going on, if he beats Makhmudov, I'm all aboard him beating Fraser Clark as well. But having seen the first fight, just the way Fraser Clark boxes, I think that he would probably, unfortunately, as a Dave Allen super fan, I think Clark would probably just has Dave Allen's number, just a better fighter,
Mm.
in my opinion. But I suppose then this run that Allen's going on, I think that if he was to beat Makhmudov, or even maybe lose the fight, but come close to winning it, I think a lot of people would actually maybe back him to beat Fraser Clark or Jamie TKV. So yeah, I hope he gets a shot at the British title regardless. Dave Allen, I think he maybe deserves it for the career he's had. So yeah, um, I'd back him to beat TKV, but I'd probably unfortunately say Fraser Clark still beats him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he beat TKV. I think Fraser Clark versus Allen, like a fit and motivated Dave Allen versus like Fraser Clark would actually be quite a decent boxing match, I think. And I think the first time around we didn't really see it. You saw kind of Dave Allen in there, but he was kind of out of shape. He was kind of getting in condition for that fight. It was almost a fight too soon, really. I think so. It's hard to really read too much into it, but I think it'd be. I actually think it might go the distance next time around if them two fought. Probably might edge maybe Fraser Clark in that respect, but I actually think it'd go the full distance. But just picking up on that thread, Paul, that I mentioned earlier, and we've kind of alluded to a bit there, is the sort of levels of Dave Allen, like how far you think Dave Allen can go. You are a Dave Allen super fan, that is true. You haven't yet predicted that he'll beat, Usyk, a prime Usyk. But the question for me really is, how far, like, taking the kind of Makhmudov thing aside, I suppose you can say, you predict him to beat Makhmudov, but after that, how far do you think he can realistically go? Like, you look at some of the other names around the sort of top 10, the top 15 heavyweight division. Where's your kind of ceiling for Dave Allen at this stage of his career?
Even if he's to win, mate, I don't think Dave Allen's ever going to win a world title or a European title. I think his ceiling and what would be his world title is a British title. I think he said that countless times. That's not to say that he's not going to be in big fights against massive names, like because he's a name. He is a name himself, Dave Allen. Whatever you want, like think whatever you think about his ability or whatever. But if you could see a world where Dave Allen gets thrown in against a massive, like a world heavyweight contender, just because he's a name and it would sell. Um, but ultimately, yeah, I think British title is a ceiling, mate, to be honest. And I think if you were to ask him that question, he would probably say the same thing.
Yeah, I think British level sound. So I'm gonna hijack something you here with something that came out in the Big Fight breakdown that myself, Danny, and Stotty were doing. Last question, Paul. I don't want to keep you too long, keep the viewers too long, but this is an interesting one because you are a super fan of both of these names. Danny was saying that he wouldn't be at all surprised if Allen somehow came through this and there was a comeback fight for one Anthony Joshua to take place against Dave Allen. He said he wouldn't be surprised if that happened. One, I was going to get your thoughts on whether you think there's any reality where that does happen, and also how you see that fight going if it did happen. I mean, I'm not going to say give too much away, but Danny did suggest that he thinks Dave Allen could beat Anthony Joshua if they fought next.
Dear, well, Danny's funny, isn't he? I mean, that's where I was saying about like you could see him in big fights, Dave Allen, if he was to win this, just because of the name and the attraction he has, and like that could maybe be one of them. But ultimately, like, I don't care what anyone says, whether Joshua is well past his best, damaged goods, whatever you want to say. I still think any version of Anthony Joshua beats Dave Allen, to be honest. Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, and that's coming from a Dave Allen super fan here, to be honest. But as I said, I would agree with Danny in the sense, but it wouldn't surprise me if it somehow was made just because it would sell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. I think I agree with you. I think there's no universe where Anthony Joshua loses to Dave Allen in my mind, unless it's a kind of hot dog eating contest, a sort of village fate or something. But I think yeah, that's only what we've got time for, Paul. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in there. Obviously, let us know what you think, really, I suppose, on the ceiling of Dave Allen. Also, thoughts and predictions on the fight of Allen versus Makhmudov. Like and subscribe to the channel, as I said at the top of the video. All your boxing needs up and under one roof. Paul, thank you very much for joining me, guys. As always, thank you very much for watching.
Pleasure, mate. All the best.